Our
0.5.
editors are actually superstars. Like, they are amazing, okay? Don't worry about it. Hey everyone, my name is Soumya, and yes, I am actually very excited today because we are calling 3 of our students who have scored a stellar band in their IELTS test. And I know you all cannot wait to meet them. But yes, before that, I just want to mention one thing. So if you are going to take your exam very soon, do watch this video. Do watch this video before going for your exam. This will help you a lot. So hi everyone, how are you all doing?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, Vinayak, John?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. Hope you're
Great.
good as well.
Yes. So like everyone is excited for the video because today you all, like our LEAP champions, are going to share your experiences, overall experience of IELTS, how you prepared and everything. So I think let's just start with the video. So yes, my name is Soumya and I'm your host for today. Would you like to introduce yourselves one by one? We can start with Vinayak.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vinayak, and thanks for having me here. Currently, I work as a research fellow with Microsoft, and I'm an engineer by profession. I scored an 8.5 and an 8.5 again in listening and reading. I scored a 7.5 in writing and a 7 in speaking. So that amounts my overall band to 8.
Oh, wow, that's
thanks,
great.
guys.
So you scored an overall 8 band, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's great. Okay, Marina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Marina, and I've been working with a financial company for the last 11 years. And I just bumped into Leap Scholar. I just happened to find Leap Scholar online while searching for some IELTS classes. And I'm so glad I did because it really helped me. I got a total of 8.5 overall band score with 9 in listening and 8.5 in speaking, 8 in reading, and 7.5 in writing. And it has been a wonderful journey with Leap Scholar. And currently I'm working as a freelancer with Leap Scholar, where I conduct speaking classes. So it's an absolute delight.
Oh, wow. So you're working with Leap Scholar now. That's great. Okay, John?
Hi, I'm John Ritter, and I've been working with an online retailer for past 4 years now. And I've got 9 in my listening and 9 in my reading as well, and 8 in speaking and 7.5 in writing, which brings my overall to 8.5.
So 7.5 in writing is actually very rare and very difficult. I myself took my IELTS exam and I scored a 6.5 in writing. It's just so irritating. I don't find writing good. Anyway, so yeah, my next question to all of you is preparing for which module like was a task for you? Like it was writing for me. So for you all? Yeah.
I'd say for me it was speaking, because I don't come from an English speaking community, but like compared to other subjects, we do usually read on social media or write something or post something, right? So speaking is where I used to get very little practice, more often than not. So I think that I found that module a bit more challenging compared to the rest.
Okay. And for Marina and John?
Exactly as Vinayak said, I'm also not from an English speaking background. So I've struggled with speaking and also writing, because I know I can write, but not an essay, which people could read and understand. So those two parts I've struggled, but actually when I sent my writings, they have corrected it.
Okay. Marina, would you like to share your experience?
Yeah. I'd say writing as well, because although I write poems and stories and all of that, and I do have like a blog that I write for my office at times, but then writing for IELTS was totally different. And it took me by surprise because there were so many techniques and things that we had to remember while writing for IELTS. It was not like your regular writing. So I did struggle. And I would say to an extent, even reading was a challenge, because although you're reading a lot of content day in and day out, but in IELTS, you really have you're confined to a time limit, and you need to ensure that you get the right answers in that time as well. So reading to some extent was a bit challenging too.
So like my next question, I think is kind of interesting. So any one thing that you actually regret, ki, you know, if you'll get one more chance, मैं जाके ये ठीक करके आ जाऊंगा. Any one thing, like just share your experiences now.
I don't regret anything, but
Okay.
because I gave the all the best of what I could offer in all the modules, I would say. So I wouldn't say I would regret anything because that is the best performance which I could give.
That's great. And like Marina, Vinayak, what about you?
Yeah, I think my answer is like in line with what John said as well, I guess. I don't have much regret based on the preparation front, but on the personal front, I didn't spend enough time I did not dedicate enough time for my preparation. I gave my exam in a bit clumsy, I guess. So one thing that I regret is like not planning ahead of time and not spending enough time on my preparation.
Okay, so I think planning is actually very, very important, and spending time for preparation is another one thing, because even I took my exam in 15 days. I prepared for it only like for 15 days, and now I'm working with Leap Scholars in 6 months. And now I think agar main ab jati, I would have scored 9 bands, because everything is on my tips, like attending daily master classes, interviewing all of you. So yes, Marina, what about you?
I do believe that it's always good to improve, and one should not stop learning and improving. So if given a chance, I think I would go back and practice writing more, because I do regret not spending enough time on writing, because I was so confident about it. I thought, okay, it shouldn't be that difficult. And only the last 5 days I had kept for preparing for my writing module. And that was a grave mistake, rather, that cost me a band, I could say. Instead of 8.5, I think I could have pushed it to a 9 if I had practiced enough writing. And there were tips shared, right? I should have just inculcated those tips and put them to use. So yeah, I definitely would want to go back and correct that if I could.
Yeah. So like, what were your thoughts on the exam day? I know you all must be nervous, because even I was nervous. But apart from that, any thoughts, any feelings? Like, what were your actual feelings before entering the exam center?
Yeah, I was really scared actually. Like I feel like I am not meant for standardized tests, and IELTS is one of the most standardized tests out there. So I think being a bit scared is natural, I feel.
Yeah. So Marina, John?
I actually panicked on the day before my speaking test. So I didn't know what to do, because even though I've prepared well, I panicked, and I called up everyone I know and I asked them, I'm panicking, what to do? Even though they haven't prepared for IELTS, but they gave me some pointers. So just be confident. I have prepared well, but I wasn't just confident enough to attend the test at that particular moment.
Yeah. So everyone should be confident, like, before entering their IELTS test centers. Confidence is the key. Even I believe that. So yeah, Marina?
I had been a student of Mohammed, and his favorite word was eustressed, right? So yes, I did go through my fair share of eustress on that day. And I think to a certain extent that stress does help, because you ensure that you're grounded and you keep your head, and you keep your things organized. You ensure that everything is in place for you on that day. Having said that, I still had a lot of trouble getting to the center on that day, because I think that was a day practically the entire Mumbai was on the roads. It was raining like crazy, and I just reached barely a minute before my test could begin at the center. So it was like a very chaotic day. So the one thing that I would like to share with people is, if it's it's a critical exam, try and be there at least half an hour before time, so that you have enough space and you have that breathing time in order for you to be mentally prepared and get into your center. So
and like,
yeah, that was my experience.
Then also you managed to score 8.5. Like this is amazing. Okay, congratulations, Marina. This is amazing. Because if I was at your place, I would panic karke, I don't know what would I have done. But yes, that's great. Okay, so so now I would like you all to share your daily routines, like while preparing for IELTS. How was your routine?
Yeah, as I said, I'm a working professional, so I couldn't dedicate office hours to my preparation. My IELTS class, or the class that I took from Ravjot ma'am, was in the early morning. I think it started from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. That was the time slot that I had opted for. And in the evening, my batch had really good peer group. So we had formed internal study groups among ourselves, and that was where I used to spend my time in the evening. So all in all, I used to dedicate 3 to 3.5 hours per day, I guess.
Per
Sometime
day.
in the morning and most in the evening. So that
Okay,
was my schedule.
great. And like Marina?
Quite agree with what Vinayak said, because me too, being a working professional, even I couldn't dedicate a lot of time during the morning hours. I took the 9 p.m. batch with Mohammed, sir. We would spend 2 hours for a 1 hour batch because it was like always, he would stay back after shift, after the class. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying shift. So yeah,
Yeah.
after the questions, and then we would stay on and then listen to him and collectively listen to everybody's doubts and questions. That was a great way of learning too. However, post that, I would spend an hour. So I think consistency is the key preparing for your IELTS exam. You can't be preparing one day and then take a break for 3 days and start again, because that will break your routine. So having a systemic routine is very important. And at the same time, the support system that we have with our peers, it was great. Like there was a whole ecosystem of our own. We had a batch that we had a WhatsApp group for our batchmates, and then on the weekends we used to get together and practice speaking in batches. Like we were just 4 or 5 people get together and speak for a few minutes. So that really helped. Till date we are on that WhatsApp group, so it was a nice way of learning and interacting. And of course, taking Cambridge books, doing those mock tests every weekend, and practicing a lot extensively from the Cambridge books, that really helped. So 15 days before my exam, even I started with my Cambridge books, and I completed about 5 of them, the complete sets. So that helped a lot.
Wow, that's amazing. And like how much did you score while like giving these mock tests? What were your bands at that time?
Fluctuating, because at times the reading was a challenge for me, like I mentioned. So there was one of the mock tests in which I scored like 6.5, and I was totally shocked. That
Yeah.
was way too low than what I expected. But I think those mock tests are designed in such a way that they really challenge you, because the actual exam then doesn't feel so much daunting as it would otherwise if you had to go without taking those mock tests. So I think they really prepare you well.
Yeah. And like John, how did your routine look like?
It was quite crazy, I would say, because even though I was working for 9 hours, I used to do, I used to give it maybe 4 hours a day and sleep less during those time. And especially when I started, I did that. And before 1 week of my exam, I took a week of leave from my organization, from my work, and I started preparing even more. So before that, I used to practice one or two Cambridge books or one or two tests every day. But during the just before the test day, I started doing four in a day. So that helped me a lot. Even though I was confident enough in listening and reading, I still did it again. I was every time I was scoring somewhere around 38, 39, and I never reached 40. I was quite shocked when I saw that 9 band in my scores.
That's great. Like that's amazing. Like all of you like managed to score 8.5, and I think like even like being an IELTS test taker myself, I think that's actually difficult. So yes. Anyway, moving to the next question. What do you think? Like, what do you personally recommend? CBT or PBT, like computer based or paper based test, and why?
For me, it was CBT because I'm well versed with the computer. I use computer almost every day, so that is why I chose CBT. I would suggest CBT if you're using the computer daily, not the mobile phone, the computer. If you're not using your computer daily and your handwriting is somewhat manageable, then I would suggest PBT.
And like, what do you think were the advantages of the computer based test?
Yeah, you could highlight it quite easily because that would be pretty hard in PBT. Um, uh, for highlighting here, we just need to double click and just right click on that particular word. You will get the highlight option. You can highlight the keywords immediately. So that was one of the major highlights, I would say.
And I think it also shows that word count in the writing module, right?
Yes,
It is
absolutely.
also actually helpful. Yeah. So Marina, what about you?
I did take the PBT, the paper-based test, simply because I'm still old school and I find highlighting and making notes and scribbling while I'm listening to all of those things, I find that more comfortable. But yes, again, I agree with what John said, and I know that a lot of people do prefer CBT. So it totally depends on what you're comfortable with. Don't just change it at the last moment. Like if you feel that you would be doing good with CBT, don't just listen to somebody else and then decide to take PBT all of a sudden, or vice versa. It's your call, what suits you. Everything has its own advantages and disadvantages. So like in PBT, it was very easy for me to make my notes if I had to, and then scribble. And I do like doodling a lot. So while I was listening to the listening test as well, I had a map, and I get totally lost when I get map questions. But I was very happy when I had a map question asked in my listening test, because I could follow along with my mark, with my pencil and mark the spaces. And I got 9, so I'm guessing I answered the math questions correctly in listening. I don't think I would have done that if I would have taken a CBT. But yes, having said that, I wish I had an option to do CBT for the writing module, if they had a combination where we could choose which modules we want to take as CBT or PPT, because I do remember going back and forth with my writing, where I had to go back and scribble a few things, or then erase them and then write all over again. And then I didn't have a word count, so I actually ended up writing 3 pages, fearing that I might fall short of words. So if it was CBT, it would have been much easier. So I think it's totally a person's call.
Yeah, so wonderful advice by Marina. Even I took CBT because of that writing module only. That was the only reason for me choosing opting CBT. Anyway, Vinayak, what about you?
No, same here as well, actually. For someone who has a handwriting that looks like a doctor's one, right? Like it would have been a sin if I had taken PBT. But yeah, I'm an engineer by background, and I'm pretty much comfortable with computers and typing a lot of content, right? So which is why I chose CBT, and I think I did fairly well in the writing section, or with what I had to achieve. So
Yes.
CBT all the way.
Okay, that's great. So 2 votes for CBT, actually 3 votes for CBT and 1 vote for PBT. Now choose wisely. Anyway, moving to the next question. So I think this is my second last question, but it's yes, very, very, very important. Any tips, any suggestions from your personal experiences that you would want to give to our audience?
Yeah, I think I have a really strong tip. During all of my practice sessions or the mock test that I took, I used to maintain a mistake checklist that I curated over all the mock tests that I had taken. And before I took every test, I used to just glance through all the mistakes that I have done, like all the while. And I can assure that I had never done the same mistake twice. And this helped me a lot, especially in reading sections, where you tend to get very clumsy or uneasy because you read a lot of content and you tend to do the same mistakes over and over again, especially with the fill in the blanks type of questions. So having a mistake checklist is really, really useful.
Yeah.
Other than that, study in a peer group, I guess. That was one. I had a well supporting peer group and they had my back all the time. Even if I had any doubts, or whether I didn't know what I did wrong, or be it my trainer itself from Leap Scholar, she gave me really good feedback on all the writing. So your peers during your preparation, they give you a good boost to do well on your exam day. So choose wisely.
Yes, definitely. So Marina, do you like to give some tips?
Similar to what Vinayak mentioned, yes, it's very important to learn from your own mistakes. We do have ample opportunities in Leap Scholar with the mock tests that are given to us each week. And of course, with your classmates as well, with your batchmates, when you're listening in, when you're speaking with them, when you're interacting in speaking clubs, speaking rooms. It's a collective learning method. You need to learn collectively. Don't just stay back, don't just finish your turn and then drop out. Try and see if you can stay throughout the whole session so that you can hear what the others are doing and then learn from them too. It's a great way of learning. You don't have to always learn from our own mistakes. We can learn from others' mistakes too, and then ensure that we don't make them. Right. And of course, practice makes a man perfect. And there can be no 2 ways about it. Practice. Enough Cambridge books are available. All the materials are there. Grammar clubs are available. Utilize those. I can't think of any other academy or any other institution that offers so much for so little a price. So if we are so keen on taking our IELTS exam, which we are paying a bomb, we might as well ensure that we invest our time wisely and make use of all these tools and resources available. So I would just ask everyone to do the same.
John, would you like to give some tips now?
Actually, it's pretty much about the speaking because that is when I panicked. And when I panicked, the one place where I went to was the speaking room, because I was comfortable with speaking to some strangers right there, and it helped me boost my vocabulary as well as my confidence. So after that, even then, I still didn't feel confident. So what I did was I attended a speaking session right before I went for my exam. So I spoke for around 2 minutes and 10 seconds, I believe. She told me, so when she asked me when is my exam, and I said now. I'll be attending my exam by 11 o'clock. Then she said, you're okay. Just boost your vocabulary. It would be working then. And after that, I would say don't repeat the mistakes. So once you have analyzed one of your mistakes, please correct it and do not repeat the mistakes, because that is what Mohammed sir taught me. And every day when I practice with my Cambridge books, I always write it down, and I write down my answers. And once I'll correct it myself, and I'll check where I'm going wrong. So after that, I'll correct myself, and I will not repeat. I will try not to repeat that mistake again. Maybe first time I will still fail on that same particular section, but I'll practice more. If I'm failing on that particular section, I'll practice more. So don't worry about the mock test. If we are getting lower bands on that, it's okay, because that is a little bit tougher. So since I'm a general training, I was writing general training. So that was for academic. So the mock tests were for academic training. That those were difficult, and I have achieved only 6 and 8 bands at the most. In listening, I've achieved 8.5 at the max. But I built my confidence from there, so I could do well. And after that, I started practicing with general training material, and I've achieved a lot. So that helped me. So that would help the viewers as well, I believe.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so my last question to all of you is, would you like to share your future plans? Because even I want to know by now, like, what are your future plans? So I think our audience would be very much interested to know. So yes, let's start with Vinayak.
I'll be joining Georgia Institute of Technology for an MS in Computer Science coming spring. That is Jan 2022. I just got my admit before a week or so.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you so
great.
much. And post that, maybe I'll be applying for doctoral programs.
Wow, wonderful. So yeah. Marina?
I'm currently at the crossroads right now. So I do have a couple of things that I need to choose from. So I'll let the time decide what comes my way. But I think IELTS was definitely the starting point. Like wherever I need to go, I had to come here and then take my steps forward. So I'm glad that I got good bands thanks to Leap Scholar, and now I can decide my future course of action.
That's great. So like, have you not finalized a country where you want to go till now?
That's one of the things. I'm not really sure
Okay.
if I even want to go anywhere.
Okay.
But yes, initially it started off with planning to Canada, but then and the process is already on. But then, like I said, there is another option which is equally available. So I'll have to decide.
Okay. And like, John, what about you?
I'm planning to immigrate to Canada, and I've already started my IRCC application, and I'm still waiting for ITA. And I believe maybe by next July, I might be staying there, and I'm planning to get the citizenship right there itself.
Oh, wow. Great. And like, which course are you planning to do?
Actually, I'm not planning for any courses right now.
Okay. Just you are going for like proper immigration purposes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. After that, if time allows, I might take a business management course, one of the business management.
Great. So yes, now we've come to an end of the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And it means a lot. And yes, it means a lot. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Soumya, for inviting us. Thanks a lot.